Ever since the THC molecule was extracted by Professor Mushallam back in 1964, Israel has been at the forefront of the world's cannabis research and industry. This fact is perfectly exemplified by the diverse cannabis economy that has sprouted in Israel and which gathers for the annual Cannatech conference in Tel Aviv. Well, joining us in the studio now to tell us more about this green frontier is founder and CEO of the iCAN Israel Cannabis Organization, Saul Kaye. Thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure. So
let's start by talking about legislation here in Israel. Cannabis was recently decriminalized just several months ago in Israel. Now, have you seen any noticeable change in terms of the treatment that cannabis users are receiving since then?
So I think we're not seeing it as much in the legalization sense and decriminalization. Yes, there are less arrests, but there are still arrests. It's not completely decriminalized. We're seeing a big move in the medical cannabis side. So there are 3,000 new approvals per month for patients.
How many people are approved?
Over 30,000
Over 30,000 here in Israel.
Yeah.
And I think what's very interesting is kind of the entire issue of why there has been so much movement forward and why Israel is a frontier for medical cannabis in the first place. Why would you say that Israel is so leading in this industry?
Being a small country, I think, helped a lot. Removing the stigma early when your grandmother is using it or when your friend's child for cancer is using it, the stigma goes away really quickly.
Right.
And that happened in Israel. We know people who are using it. 30,000 patients is now a large number. It's something significant.
Absolutely.
And that, separation by 2 people in Israel, where normally it's 8 people. So everyone knows someone in Israel who's benefited from medical cannabis.
And it's interesting because cannabis is, in terms of medical research more specifically, Israel really is leading. There are a lot of other countries that are coming here for not only advice, but they want to get their hands on the data and statistics coming out of this country. What are some interesting facts that we have learned recently?
I think we're seeing things that we never expected. Treating autism in kids, ADD, ALS, Parkinson's, neurological diseases that don't have other treatments. These are the things where cannabis really can shine. Ashkenazi Jewish diseases, Crohn's disease, asthma, rheumatoid arthritis. This is, once we start gathering enough data and that data starts to mean something, and we've got some really great data scientists in Israel, we can start to apply that data to much larger populations.
So, I mean, clearly gathering this information has had a huge impact on the exports coming out of Israel towards other countries in the world. Tell us a little bit about what is happening with cannabis abroad and that relationship with Israel.
So I think everywhere is moving towards some form of cannabis regulation.
Right.
They're changing it up. But until that happens, there's 3 years till patients can get access. Israel's got a lead. We're already producing. We have the data. We know it's safe. So allowing export from Israel, which is now going to happen, allows the countries that are implementing their own program to really come in and provide medication right now for their patients. And that's unique.
It's a very big deal. And obviously, like you said, Israel is kind of the center in terms of the exports that are going to be happening here. Now, let's also talk about something very different and very interesting, the kibbutzim here in Israel, the kibbutz communities. There are reports of a newly revitalized kibbutz movement that is based on the idea of cultivating cannabis. Is the government going to support something like this?
They have supported it. Of the new applications to grow medical cannabis in Israel, a large proportion of them are kibbutzim. They recognize that, tomatoes you fetch $2 to $3 a kilogram.
Right.
Here you fetch $10 per gram. There's obviously an economy that they want to get behind. And the government has actually taken moves to support that, to allow those groups, those communities who are already in agriculture to continue being in agriculture.
So speaking of those high costs, what will it take for the price per gram to go down, if that can happen at all?
I think insurance should be covering medical cannabis. It's proven that people who are taking cannabis for medicinal purposes reduce their prescription usage by 30 to 40%. So there's a clear incentive for insurance companies, for Clalit, for Maccabi, Mouchedet, to cover the cost of medical cannabis. That won't help the street price of illegal cannabis, because that's market forces. But, medicalization typically leads to legalization, and then the price stabilizes.
All right, well, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, but thank you so much for coming in, Saul Kaye.
Thank you.